Democrats are going to turn their focus to the obstruction charge in 45's impeachment trial. Democrats serving as prosecutors in the U.S. and 45's impeachment trial in the Republican-led Senate will make their case. He improperly interfered in Congress probe of his dealings with Ukraine in the final days of the arguments on Friday, which happens to be today. Democratic managers from the House of Representatives will try to convince senators and the U.S. public that the Republican squatter is guilty of the charges of obstructing Congress for withholding key witnesses and documents from the investigation. The Democratic-led House impeached 45 last month on that charge and a separate charge of abuse of power for allegedly trying to coerce Ukraine's government into digging up dirt on former Vice President Joe Biden, a top contender for the 2020 Democratic nomination. The impeachment trial in the Senate, the third such proceedings in U.S. history, will determine whether 45 is ousted from power less than 10 months before he faces re-election. The U.S. Constitution sets out the impeachment process for removing a squatter who commits high crimes and misdemeanors. 45 denies any wrongdoing, of course he would, because he believes he's always innocent, even if he's not, while his Republican allies argue his conduct does not rise to the level of an impeachable offense. Yes, it does. Once Democrats conclude their opening arguments, 45's legal team will have up to 24 hours over 3 days to try to mount a defense for him. And they tried to do a defense for him in the first day of the impeachment hearing, and it didn't go too well for them. Senate Republicans are expected to acquit him. A two-thirds vote of the chamber is required to eject him from office. I think they gotta get 4 Republicans to flip in order for them to impeach him, and I doubt they're gonna get the 4 that they need. 45 on Friday retweeted dozens of supporters who repeated his criticism of the proceedings as unfair and politically motivated. The former reality television dumbass also complained his lawyers would have to begin arguments on Saturday when he said nobody watches TV. I watch TV almost every damn day, and that's because when I get off of work or when I'm not working, I watch TV 99% of the time. So, yeah, on the weekends, I'm watching fucking TV. Looks like my lawyers will be forced to start on Saturday, which is called Death Valley in TV. 45 wrote on Twitter, as the trial neared the end of its first week, there was little sign that Senate Republicans were being persuaded by the Democratic case. Democrats spent Thursday meticulously detailing their allegations that 45 only grew interested in corruption in Ukraine when it appeared that Biden could become a serious political threat. Democratic Representative Adam Schiff, the lead House manager, said 45 had used U.S. foreign policy for his own personal interest, and that failing to oust him from office would open the door to a lot of damage in the coming months. This is why, if you find him guilty, you must find that he should be removed, because this matters. Because right matters and truth matters, otherwise we are lost, Schiff said in his closing argument on Thursday. In a July 25th phone call, 45 pressed Ukrainian President Zelensky to investigate Biden and his son Hunter, who served on the board of Ukrainian energy gas company called Burisma. 45 temporarily withheld almost $400 million in U.S. military aid to Ukraine, which Democrats say was leverage for his demands. On Friday, they will argue that 45 also unlawfully refused to cooperate with the House probe of the matter by directing officials to ignore the Democratic request to testify from relevant documents. Key administration officials who refused to comply with subpoenas in the probe included the Vice President in breeding Mike Pence, White House acting Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney, and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Former National Security Advisor John Bolton refused a request by the House to testify, but he said he would if he was subpoenaed. Democrats sought to have Bolton testify in the trial, but senators voted along party lines on Tuesday against all the Democrats' proposed witnesses. White House counsel Pat Cipollone, a member of 45's legal team, has accused Democrats of using the impeachment process to try to steal the 2020 election. We don't have to try to steal it. I said 45 was trying to steal it when he was trying to when he was pressuring the Ukrainian squatter, and said the squatter had a constitutional right to keep aides from testifying. That's not true. During the proceedings, Democrats have argued the Senate should allow new witnesses such as Bolton to testify. Republicans have resisted their push, but have threatened to call Joe or Hunter Biden in retaliation as witnesses. The Senate could return next week to that issue. Democrats are holding out hope that they can persuade enough moderate Republicans to vote to allow additional witness testimony and documents into the trial. Democratic Representative Val Demings, one of the House impeachment managers, said Democrats would continue to press for that, but added that there was a strong case against the squatter without additional testimony. The best witness is the squatter himself, and listening to his own words in the Zelensky call, and 45's public calls for other nations to interfere in the November election. Demings said in an interview with MSNBC that is hard to ignore.